Oh, I see it. I hear it.
Recording in process. What is going on, Greg? Thanks for joining me today. I'm super excited for our podcast because this has been a long time. We've been talking about actually getting on one of these things together and doing this. So I'm excited about not only talking about the topics we're talking about, but just being able to share this time with you here online and um, being able to give the people that some questions, maybe answers to questions that they have that they don't want to ask. Sometimes a lot of these things, it's like you think about these things, but you don't want to look like you're not smart. You don't know the answers. And both of us are simple people. I think I'm a simple person. I like to deliver things simple. I like people to understand what we're talking about. And the great thing about you, Greg, is you were one of my first friends moving down here to Florida. I remember I've been here living there for 4.5 years. You were one of the first people that I met. And the great thing about you, not only are you an expert here in real estate, but you're born and raised here. I mean, you're the unicorn of the 1%, the 0.5% of the people that are living here right now that you've been born and raised. So you know this area in and out. You know the back roads, the main roads, and a lot of times, a lot of these main roads weren't even here when you first, grew up here. So you've kind of seen this place evolve in a sense, and your work ethic is, that no one has the work ethic you have. You're a student of the craft. You love what you do, and you love people, and you have fun. So you kind of have all those dynamics that people that work with you love to work with you, and they rave about you. So uh, that being said, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to talk about the topics, and I'm excited to hear your point of view on some of the things because you have a different perspective than a lot of people, knowing this market and watching it since you have the 20 plus years in the industry. I mean, is it 20, 21, 20 something now, right? In the 2000.
I don't know. I was selling the real estate since I was in diapers, though. Like building sand castles and selling it to somebody.
To those damn vacationers when they came in.
That's right.
You can see this is yours for the $5 and a lollipop.
Yeah, exactly. So, I really appreciate the introduction, Chris. Again, my name is Greg Claxton. I'm a good friend of Chris. All my loans go to Novus Home Mortgage. Those guys are awesome. Chris is awesome. They get the job done. They've done I think 3 loans for me in the last 3 months. So thank you, brother.
Thank you. We appreciate that business, Greg. And, we always value you and your expertise and just your work ethic. Again, your work ethic is second to none here. So the one thing we want to talk about today is explaining some of the current trends that you're seeing and that we're seeing as far as how long some of these houses are staying on the market. That's our first kind of question that people start writing to us and they ask a lot of questions. Well, I want to know what's going on in your market down there. One of the things is how long are houses staying on the market? Should I be in this market now? Should I not be buying? And I think we want to just debunk some of those main questions people have on where they think the market's going to go down. I don't see it, Greg, and you're in it every day on your end, even more so than me. So what do you see as far as how long homes are staying on the market right now when you put them up for listing?
Chris, great question. I really appreciate that question. I get it pretty much every day. So out there selling full time. So, doing this and see that there's 2 different things you got to think about. One is real estate is hyper local. So if you're watching this video and you're somewhere else, like in New Jersey or New York, the market might be different there than it is here, right? So, and a lot of different factors do impact the question you ask me. But as a trend, as a whole, we have what's called a trailing number, and the way the numbers work, like we're pulling numbers from May right now, right? So we still have June, and then going into July. So we're looking for this trend. So on average right now, compared to a year ago, we're 44 days on the market. Now that's the May number, okay? And a year ago today, roughly in May, was 14 days, okay? So that number has changed substantially, and it's been steadily climbing. So summer historically has been a little bit slower. There's a lot of people taking vacations. So when you talk about that, that's a small factor. But there's still a lot of people desiring to be in Florida. And that's the demand that you're talking about, Chris. Like, I haven't seen the demand slow down at all for people who want to move here.
Correct. So
but we are trending though. We are trending though in a direction that You want to shorten that time of days on market, you got to lower the price at the end of the day.
Correct. Correct. But 44 days really is not a long time to be sitting on the market. I mean, I've been in here, I've been doing this long enough to where, you had some markets where strictly buyers markets where the houses would just sit. So you could just buy it for what you want. And that kind of moves to that next question. What's the comparison that you're seeing between, you know, the asking price versus what the sell price is? Because what I'm seeing, Greg, and I don't know if you're seeing a lot of it, I'm seeing a lot of my buyers, they're actually, in some cases, still paying and offering more than what the house is selling for in some cases. And so it's not like, okay, nobody's buying the markets. You got these different dynamics going on where we're still very low in inventory. I think we're somewhere around 5 million short in construction starts in homes. So we're way far below on inventory. Plus, you have this other dynamic where the people who may have bought 2 or 3 years ago, who traditionally do something with their home in 3 to 5 years, maybe sell, upgrade, downsize, they don't want to let go. All the people that refinanced their homes and these 2.5%, 3% rates, you have them sitting there saying, I don't want to get rid of this 3% rate, where traditionally they would have been going on to somewhere else, regardless of how much they've increased in equity. Because most people on the market right now have 30% equity in their home, which I think the average is $300,000 of equity sitting out there, which for you and me, Greg, that should, before we answer that question, that's a ton of money people have in their homes if they want to keep them, to pull out with an equity line and buy an investment property, buy a second home, buy something else that will grow. But so I didn't get off track because I sometimes go down the rabbit.
You're not on track at all. Listen, we both love where we live, right? We both live in Lakewood Ranch.
Yeah.
I see new people every day walking in my neighborhood. There's houses going up left and right. There are micro markets too. Just keep that in mind. So if you're like an investor, like saying, man, this market's not changing. Well, there actually are good pockets in different places that if somebody wants to try to identify that, we can help them do that depending on what they want to invest in. I'll give you an example if I can divert for a second. If you look at the statistics of downtown Sarasota, right? Right now, there is a supply shortage of condominiums under $3 million. There's more people that want to buy them than are available. So, that market, and it's hard to find a place like this in downtown. It's just bustling, right? And then you have a sales cycle problem. Like all these new developers are coming in with these high rises or mid rises, they call them. And there's a 3-year build cycle.
Right.
But to get that $3 million penthouse or higher, you're going to have to wait for it. So those buyers end up becoming renters, or they buy something else again. So you have these cash buyers, many of them. And I know you do loans for many of these condos too. But, it's different now. Things are changing. Our community is growing. I talked to so many people that say, man, I had no idea how amazing the area was and how much there is to do here, from the golf to the University Town Center to Lakewood Ranch lifestyle, the bike lanes, just to feel like the cycle. All those things are just continue to attract people here on top of no state income tax. That's a big one.
Right. That's one of the bigger reasons.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Chris, I think we could talk hours on this stuff, right? I know we have about 20 minutes, but the listing price ratio, what we've seen, if you compare it to last year, same time, we're at 101% over list price, about 1% over technically. So 1.01 is the number. And right now we're at 0.98. So we're at 2% on average. Now, when you pull the average stats, you'll still see houses like some of your friends that went 7% over asking price. Well, why was that? Someone said, they got aggressive with their price, or their house was so amazing that it's going to demand a higher price, right?
Yeah.
And those houses are just lickety split off the market. But you can plan an average if you are, if you get a good analysis on your property, that it should take you about roughly 2 months to get a contract.
Yeah. So you're seeing that they're holding their value. So what you're putting them on the market for, people are paying.
Now, 98% is nothing to worry about, So, and a lot of that percentage of what I'm seeing is these were, let's call them unrealistic sellers as a whole, that think their house is worth more than it is. It's out there. I'll tell any agent, hey, you want to buy my house for $1 million? I'll sell it to you. Come bring me the buyer. I say, sure, I'll sell it, but that's unrealistic, right? I don't live in $1 million house. So that's where you're seeing these price drops. And I'll give you how be careful. I'm going to give you a kind of a warning here, just to be careful at statistics sometimes because they can be skewed in so many different ways.
Right.
Going back to question one, we're at a 200% increase in days on market since last year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, 14 days to 44, but is that bad? No, it's not bad. It's actually pretty normal. So that's normal. Headline to say 200%, and then you get scared. But you know, we're here. Chris is here. Chris has all these stats
Yep.
to kind of give you the information, so where you don't have to have fear. I mean, if you see us getting scared, you should probably get scared. That's what I have to say.
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. So one of the things that people were asking too is like, now that we're heading into the summer months, what are your predictions? What do you foresee? Now that summer started a week or two ago, what do you see that's going on in our Southwest Florida market here in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, we're kind of like, and I'm going to throw this back to you in a second because a lot of this hinges on current interest rates, right? So right now, we're kind of at a weird point where interest rates are at the highest they've been in a very, very long time, right? And so that's having some impact on people's purchasing decisions, especially if, let's say, you're a two-income family, you have to get a mortgage. Well, if rates are 8.5 or 8 or 7.5, 6, whatever they're at, they're definitely higher than they were, right? So right now it's sideways, a sideways market. Now, if you look at the trailing trend, it says we had a 2% increase in price, right?
Yeah.
So 2% so we're slowing down the price. Like we're not skyrocketing up like that. We're kind of just leveling out. So we're going more sideways. I see that summer trend continuing until season hits again, right? And then we have a lot of buyers coming in from up north, getting out of the cold, retiring, making their second home their primary home. So you're also as a buyer dealing with all of the people who want to retire here. So that's why this inventory is really not that high right now. And then so you can talk on this the interest rates, Chris. Tell me about those because what I'm seeing, and this is basic math, interest rates go up, house prices come down, right? In general.
Right.
If interest rates go down, house prices, and then what happens as soon as the interest rates hit, then it just goes bonkers again. And they go when they come down a point or a half point or a quarter
Well,
point.
so that, I mean, that's what I mean, what I would advise people right now is the rates are high. They are. Um, they're the highest they've been in a long time. However, they're still, based on averages, they're still traditionally low.
Yeah.
On- If you look at a chart going back to the 70s, I mean, you can go from 16%. And, where we are right now is still at the lower end, even when it comes up into the sevens and the mid sixes. So what I tell people is once those rates do drop, and they will at some point, I don't have a crystal ball, Greg. And I try to tell people, I listen to these experts and I see that they're wrong sometimes. So it's very hard to say. They already thought that Q4 of this year, we were going to be in the fives. I don't see that happening now that we're already, getting through. We're almost there now. We're a couple months away and we're still in the mid sixes. We saw a minute they were dropping and then they turned the other direction about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But what I can say is this: once they start going back down again, you're going to have a lot more buyers in the market, which might drive those prices up a little bit. So whatever money you would have lost in interest rate on that monthly payment compared to the rate you would have wanted, you're going to probably lose a lot more in appreciation and a lot more in lost rent if you're renting than you would if you just were to buy now and refinance again when the rates are low. So I I'm not a fearmonger. I think real estate is one of your best investments you can make. I believe, depending on the market that you're in, if you're buying here, if you're watching and you're looking to buy here in the Southwest Florida market, we have one of the hottest markets there is. I mean, this region, people are attracted to the climate, the beautiful scenery, the lifestyle amenities. I mean, it's a sought after destination for most, not just home buyers, but investors. Where before people would say this is where people come to die, not anymore. I,
No.
we got people our age, Greg. A lot of people moving in that 35 to 45 space, raising their families here. The school districts are some of the top in the country. I think Sarasota High School is number 3 in the country or something crazy like that. It's not even ranked in the top bottom half. It's ranked in the top in the country. So I know in Florida it's ranked number 1 or 2.
Well, on top of that, we have if you think about outdoor sports, like if your kids are trying to go to college and play Division 1, we have IMG Academy in our backyard.
Right.
Right here at Bradenton. And then one thing, and you mentioned lifestyle, but the beaches here, we're always top 10 beaches in America and in the world many times. So
Right.
you can't not come here and not have something for you and your family, your loved ones, your retired family, your young kids. There is everything to do here. I've traveled the world personally. Like I've been everywhere. I know you've been everywhere too, Chris. And this has always been my home. I've never found a more beautiful place to to have a family, to want to stay and plant roots and be like, this is my place. So like the secret is way out, right? The secret is way out.
It's up. They used to go to the East Coast, but now they're coming over to the West Coast. I thought I was running away from the Northeast.
I know, and that's exactly what it is. So one, I'll throw this out there, Chris. I know you can speak on this because you've moved out here compared to me fairly recently, but not recent. You've been here what for 5 years now, 4 years,
4.5 years. Yeah.
well, 4.5 years. So the demand curve for the desirability of just call it our pocket, Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota, just our immediate area, not even full Southwest, like is so huge that they're talking about appreciation over time. I mean, there's these builders haven't stopped buying land, like not that I've seen. They're still the dirt's still churning. They're still building in anticipation of the buying to continue. So it's
Yeah.
still happening in a good way. Now, again, I'm not a fear monger either, Chris, but there's always some risk in life. But man, sometimes a time is a time, and you just got to do what you got to do, right? And that's where I'm like, hey, you don't wait to retire. You hit the nail on the head. You can look at this like your mortgage payoff, paying a small amount of higher interest for 2 years or 1 year. Long term, you're still going to be better off and have more equity and less out of pocket if you buy now versus waiting. Okay. Um, and so with the demand in our area, we're just not going to, I don't think we're going to see a huge, if we saw a decline, it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be huge personally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because there's a lot of people out there that are just trying to get headlines so you to watch their shows to say, hey,
Right.
it's going to implode. And I hope that's not the case. And we can't guarantee the future. We know that. But one thing is true compared to 2008, right?
Yeah.
The amount of equity that everyone has in the homeowners have in their like home, like if you're at the homesteaded property in your home is substantially more than what it was in 2008. So there's a built-in buffer for a lot of people who buy, and the interest rate's so low that they got 2 years ago, or I wish I would have closed them. It didn't take so long to build my house, So
Yeah.
I would have got a lower rate.
And but when the rates come down, you'll refinance and you'll have a lot more equity than you would have if you bought when that happens. So you did the right move. You're a perfect example here. You're not just you practice what you're preaching. You bought in a high rate market.
Listen, I bought two investment properties and my primary home this year. Okay, well, one was the end of December, so yeah, 100%. I am practicing what I'm preaching. I'm not 100%, Chris. So I mean, so and a lot of that was your guidance too. You guys got me some good rates. I had to pay some points. Oh well, that was investment properties, and that happens. But long term value.
We have Wall Street buying property, single family residence. Why is Wall Street buying real estate right now? If I see Wall Street buying real estate, it might be telling you something. Like they see something that we don't. They might have slowed down a little, but they're still buying single family residence because the rental market's going to continue to go up. Which kind of leads me. So one of the questions that people were asking, like I'm going to skip one of these questions because one was what are buyers looking for in homes right now as far as a deal? Are they looking for move-in ready? I think that one we could spend time on, but really the answer to that is when they're buying investment properties, of course people love to just turn a key and be able to start renting them. And a lot of the houses down here, Greg, that are sold from investors, they're selling them furnished. So a lot of times you can buy those deals if that's what you're looking for. But I don't know. Would you see regular families looking for homes that are furnished, or they're looking to furnish them themselves, stuff like that, right?
I mean, we could do a whole session on this question. I think it'd be definitely worthwhile because it's kind of an interesting topic. I mean, we could talk about short-term rentals, which is really difficult here in our area to do because of the
Restrictions.
the restrictions and regulations. But that's why you have so many investors trying to vie for these spots where you can do short-term rentals, and there's a lot of competition, right? So you're really gonna find those deals, and they're not easy because there's everybody has, not everybody, but a lot of people have this investment money they can use, and with that investment money, there's a lot of buyers for these small number of short-term rentals. So
There's a big
yeah.
demand for it. So where do you see most of your buyers that you're working with? where are they coming from? Do you find that are they local people, or are they coming from out of state?
So I mean, my personal mix, it's hyper local, is I would say it's like 80-20, 20% local, 80% out of state. And my out of staters, I mean, it's New Jersey, New York, Illinois, like Chicago, a lot from Chicago.
Mhm.
I'm starting to get a lot from California. They're finally making it all the way over. Instead of going to Texas or even a little bit further to Arizona, they're saying, "Oh, let's just go to Florida all the way." Um, and so yeah, I'm seeing a lot. That's kind of like some of the hot spots there. And I'm trying to think if there's anything like some of the like even Idaho, like they had a lot of price appreciation in Idaho. So a lot of people are cashing out and moving to Florida.
Yeah.
Um, so you're going to see that continue. I mean, I believe it hasn't changed. The demand's still there. People still want to be here. As soon as the first cold front hits and the snow starts to fall, and you know,
Correct.
George and Sue look at each other and say, "What are we doing here? Let's move to Florida."
Or they come visit their cousin from New York who
Yeah.
just moved here, in the last 2 years, and that's what I think we're seeing a lot of. Like you said, you're seeing a lot more Californians because, well, the Californians that moved here are calling back home saying, "You guys don't understand. It's almost like California. Yeah, it's a little warmer, but we got the best beaches. We can actually go in the water here. We don't have any state taxes, and we're buying a mansion for a quarter of the price that we paid for our matchbox at home of a home." So, I mean, it's same in New York and New Jersey. They're coming. I had a guy, a humble home in New Jersey, paying over $20,000 a year in taxes.
Wow.
And that, I mean, just property taxes, never mind their state taxes and all that other layers of stuff. So now that you already have an influx of a base of people here, now their families are saying, "Man, the whole change of the world has changed where you can work from anywhere. So it's not like you have to live in a spot to work." So now they're like, "Okay, wait a minute. Where's the done?"
Chris.
I saw those pictures of him having fun, and I'm sitting here shoveling snow, paying all this money in taxes, and he's out by this pool. We're going. So I
I
think,
see that a lot, Chris. I'd say this: there are definitely family members who are like, "Hey, I'm staying back with mom, right, in New York, or she's too old to move, or whatever." That they have the system set up. But what's happening is all the brothers and sisters are coming, or and all the friends are coming. So I had one family. I think they came down there first from New York, and then like three other families followed, all from the same area. They're neighbors and best friends, right? So they're definitely seeing a lot of that, and there's a good reason for it. So, and they'll like end up staying with their buddy, their friend for like 6 months while their house is being built or whatever, and kind of job transition. So there's a lot of job opportunities too that are popping up because of the especially in the service sector. Another video, by the way, on that one.
another video. We
Yeah,
could, Greg, you and I could sit on this thing all day and just rap back and forth. And I hope that everybody watching found something useful. But my main question to you, Greg, is how can the people that are watching this, how can they get a hold of you? How can they find you?
thanks
If
for
they have
asking
any
that.
questions. Yeah, you're
They
welcome.
just call Chris, and then he'll get in touch with me.
Uh, thank
Chris
you.
is that
Good time.
No, it's super simple. Listen, you can find me all over social media. Just look for the hat. I mean, I'm all over YouTube. My channel is the Florida Relocation Expert and Guide. And it's you can find me. It's a Real Estate Dreams at the Greg Realtor. I'm everywhere. I Google. Just look up the Claxton Group. That's the name of my group, the Claxton Group, and you can find me. And if you happen to find me and need a loan, I'll push you to Chris. If you need a house and you need a house and not a loan or whatever, Chris will help you find me, and we'll get you all hooked up. And I got to say one thing, Chris. I left out Boston. I left out Mass. So I want to say, yeah, I have clients coming from Mass too. I love my Boston people. So come on down, Boston.
Yeah, they're all everybody's finding out about this place, which is great. I mean, I'm okay with sharing it, Greg. I think you are too. So if you have any questions, give myself a call. Call Greg. Watch his YouTube. He's very entertaining on his YouTube channels. Not just at the entertainment part, but educational. So you're not bored to death while you're trying to learn
Thank
something.
you. I try to make it fun.
You get to have some fun. So if you want to have fun and you want to learn some more about real estate, get in touch with either one of us, and we'd be love to help you guys. But thanks for watching. Thanks for joining, Greg. I really appreciate it because I gonna just give it. It's one dimensional when it's just me talking about my opinions or what I see or things that I pull off. But when I have someone like you bring a little bit more life to to the show, and you bring another perspective that even I take some information. So selfishly, I get a lot out of listening to you. So thanks again for coming on.
Let's go play golf, Chris. So if you're up there and watching this video in the wintertime and we're saying things like, let's go play golf or let's go to the beach or let's go fishing,
That's it.
call us, right? We can help you out.
I see you on your bike, so I'm expecting to see you maybe tomorrow morning, my friend.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Talk to you. See you guys. Thank you.
Take care. God bless. I'm out.